Ken Trahan along with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout the Gulf South, including the Florida Panhandle and Southeast Louisiana. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. Well, the New Orleans Pelicans are back in action. Game 2 at Golden State tonight after a Game 1 that was kind of strange. They were completely dominated for 3 quarters and then really played well in the fourth quarter. I guess the big question, Lenny, is did Golden State let up or did the Pelicans play well? I kind of think it was a little bit of both.
I think what you saw is, and Anthony Davis touched on this a little bit in the post-game press conference, this unit is in the playoffs for the first time. A lot of these guys are in the playoffs for the first time. Never set foot on a floor in a playoff game. The last time Anthony Davis played a postseason game was the NCAA championship in the Dome 3 years ago. So it's a different experience. It's a different level, everything that goes with it. And I think it took these guys some time to adjust, and they got it going in the fourth quarter. Can they carry that over into Game 2 on Monday, and then ideally even further back home for Games 3 and 4? The old saying in the NBA playoffs is the series doesn't start until if the road team wins a game. Well, only one series, I guess, has started because on the opening weekend, only one road team won a game. So we'll see how things go Monday night.
Yeah, quit looking for fouls. They're not going to call them many times, and just go out and play hard. And we'll see what transpires. It should be fun, and obviously Tyreek Evans remains a big question, and obviously they need him. So we'll see. And it will also be interesting to see if Monty Williams makes any lineup adjustments and goes smaller against the faster, quicker Golden State squad. It's a big week for golf in New Orleans. The Zurich Classic of New Orleans kicking off with a Pro-Am Monday, another Pro-Am Wednesday, and, of course, the actual event taking place Thursday through Sunday over at the TPC of Avondale. It's a nice field considering, and you always have to make that qualification, Lenny, because they can't change the dates. They come after a popular tournament in North Carolina and 2 weeks after the Masters and ahead of some other popular tournaments, so it's not a must-make date at all on the tour.
No, it's not, but it does play well to ideally build up your international field. You've got a World Golf Championship event. The match play tournament has been moved to the week after the Zurich, and it's in San Francisco. And look, kudos to Steve Worthy and the folks at the Four Kids Foundation. One of the things that they're doing this year to help them attract some of these types of players is they chartered a plane from New Orleans to San Francisco to go out there on Sunday evening after the last putt, so they can help these guys get out there. Obviously, that's a tough travel situation, so it's it helps from that perspective to be able to get these players out there and to be able to attract players. Something that the John Deere Classic in the Midwest has done. They've been the week before the British Open for years now. They started chartering a flight across over to England to be able to get players over there, and it's worked well for them. So let's see the first year how that affects things. You never know how schedules will change going forward, but you're right. It is a nice field. It's not a great field, but they've managed to get 3 of the top 10 in the world. You'd love to have the Masters champion Jordan Spieth, who's the rising star on tour, but you don't. But it's still, this has been a great stepping stone in terms of players going on to be very competitive in majors coming out of this stop. I don't know why that is, but still, you've gotten some of those rising stars who have managed to win or be very successful here.
College baseball, it was a good weekend. LSU won both of its games at Georgia. That's the good news. The bad news is the Sunday game was canceled because the rain will not be made up, so that could be a half game that could be very valuable down the road in terms of the SEC. And by all accounts, LSU probably would have won that third game, so that's not one they wanted to lose to weather. Number 1 in the country. They figured to be number 1 across the board, but already number 1 in 1 or 2 polls out on Monday. Tulane, meanwhile, a good series win over a ranked team in Central Florida, winning 2 out of 3 on a pair of shutouts, no less. UNO won by shutout over Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Sean Semple on Sunday, and Southeastern leads the Southland Conference, and they have 30 wins, the fastest they've ever had them. So college baseball looking good.
It is, and all around in this area, they're playing better, and that is a good sign. Even the teams that may not be at the top of their league or right at the top of their league, solid RPIs. And what happens is that ends up helping everyone down the road because you're playing these teams in the middle of the week, and it's bringing up RPIs. Southeastern sitting right around 50. Tulane has quietly crept up to number 44 in the RPI. The problem is they're tied for last in their conference right now. So if they could put some good conference weekends together, they are right back in the at-large discussion. And I don't know we'd have had that conversation 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that is good. I mean, the middle of the week win over UNC Wilmington a few weeks back, UNC Wilmington hasn't lost since then, and they're in the top 25 now. So that win looks really good as well. Tulane and LSU, by the way, tomorrow night, before we get back into the conference conversation, Tulane, LSU, and Baton Rouge tomorrow night.
New Orleans VooDoo, a big loser at Tampa Bay, got shut out in the second half. That doesn't happen very often in arena football. Not much to say about that. 3 straight losses, and they got whipped.
Yeah, you're right. You can't get blanked in the course of 2 quarters of arena football. That's just, it doesn't happen often. It's not supposed to happen. Got to bounce back. Got an extra couple of days to be able to heal the wounds a little bit and get ready. The NBA playoff schedule here in New Orleans has moved their scheduled Saturday night game back to Sunday, so they'll give them a little bit more time to prepare this week.
Zephyrs swept at Omaha in a doubleheader yesterday. Never like to see that. It appears Omaha's a good team, though.
It does, and some crazy stuff happening. You see, the first game ended when they were trying to intentionally walk a guy, and ball 4 was a wild pitch that went back to the screen, and that's how the winning run came across. Zephyrs turned to triple play the other night, so some crazy things happening there. Z's back home this weekend.
Last but not least, our First NBC Bank Prep Showcase continues Monday, today, and we've got 2 for the price of 1 on SportsNOLA.com.
Yep. Adjusting a little bit, just like all these schools have had to do. We had 10 days in a row of rain that finally ended on Sunday. What was that? What's that blue stuff over our head? I'm not sure. But and that big orangey yellow ball, I don't know what that is either. But finally, we're going to get some baseball on the air. Watch it here at SportsNOLA.com Monday night. Rummel against Shaw at 3:30. Brother Martin St. Augustine at 7. We'll have the re-airs of those games. The Brother Martin St. Aug game will air Tuesday at 5:30, and the Rummel Shaw game Wednesday at 5:30 on WHNO TV 20. And we're not done there. We've got a special edition of First NBC Bank Baseball coming your way on Tuesday on SportsNOLA.com with the opener of the Region 23 series between Delgado and Baton Rouge Community College from Rag Sherman Field, Kirsch-Rooney Stadium. That should be a lot of fun as well.
Indeed it is, and Tim Tebow back in the NFL, at least for now. From my perspective, I wish him luck. The guy's a good guy, and he's no distraction at all. It's whether he can play football or not.
Can he play football? We'll find out, and in a Chip Kelly offense, that's a lot of intrigue there, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
All right, Lenny, thanks. That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. He's Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.